Randy Bachman, and you're listening to Jimmy Warren.
Well, all right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Jimmy Warren Show. I am your host, Jimmy Warren. We're so thankful that you tuned in. Hey, you just heard from Randy Bachman. He will be my guest next Tuesday night. We're going to be talking about his project called Every Song Tells a Story, the Vinyl Tap Tour. So you don't want to miss Randy Bachman next Tuesday night. You know, we started a two-part series last Tuesday. There's a project that was put out on Severn Records. It's called Four Pops. It's a tribute to Muddy Waters, and it was with Mud Morganfield, the son of Muddy Waters, and Kim Wilson, the voice of the Fabulous Thunderbirds. And the two of them have just done an outstanding job on this project. And last week we heard around half, maybe a little bit more, half of the project. Yeah, plus we heard the interview with Mud Morganfield. Tonight we've got the second part. We're going to hear some more, probably the rest of that release altogether, along with a really good interview with Kim Wilson. Kim was very gracious, spent a lot of time with me. We talked about a lot of things. As a matter of fact, we got enough from that conversation to do another program just around Kim in the coming days here real soon. But tonight we're going to talk about the Four Pops project with Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson. So before we go any further, we're going to go right into the CD. We're going to play some more music off of it. And when we come back, you're going to hear my interview with the one and only Kim Wilson. But right now, here it is, Blow Wind Blow by Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson off of Four Pops.
I didn't have my baby by my side. Well, when the sun rose this morning, I didn't have my baby by my side. Well, I didn't know what she was. She was out with another guy. Well, don't the sun look so lonesome, sitting down behind the tree. Why don't the sun look so lonesome, or sitting down behind the tree? Well, you know your house is so lonesome when your baby pack up and leave. Well, blow wind, blow wind, blow my baby back to me. Yeah, blow wind, blow wind, blow my baby back to me. Well, you know if I don't find a truck, my heart gonna be in misery. Baby back to me. Well, blow wind, blow my woman back to me. Well, you know if I don't find her, my heart's gonna be in misery. Got no more to say. Well, goodbye, little girl. I ain't got no more to say. Well, I know you don't love away.
All right, that was Blow Wind Blow by Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson. CD is for Pops. It's a tribute to Muddy Waters on Severn Records, and here we go. The one and only Kim Wilson.
First of all, I know that, you've been around a long time. You fronted in front the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and you're well known in the circles of music and blues and that. How did this project, how did you connect? Did this come about, that you and Mud got together to do this tribute album for Muddy Waters?
Well, David got Mud's, he already had us. He got Mud's CD, I think while we were recording ours. And immediately people started talking about Mud and myself working together on this type of project. And he just followed what the people were saying. It was one of those things. So, everybody was crying for it, and they got it. That's pretty much it. The songs were they were picked by those guys. They weren't picked by us. But the thing was that there's really nothing to argue with as far as the Muddy Waters songs goes. We all knew the music, and we kind of handpicked all these guys. I had a hand in that with Barrel House and Billy and Rusty. And of course, David got his guys, who are great, of course, and I've worked with many times before at this point, so it was kind of a no-brainer, It was, everything was so easy to do. We went in there all set up in the same room, except for Mud. And so you get that good bleed coming through all the microphones. Mm-hmm. It was somewhat akin to the old way of doing it. Yeah. And we just went in there and let it fly. The hardest part for me was not knocking off little Walter solos. Mm-hmm. And that's not really where I live anyway. I was knocking off little Walter solos when I was 18 years old, was trying to anyway. So, I'm old enough now to be my own guy. And I think you have to really improvise on this music. Yeah, I think you have to improvise on blues. You have to have your own voice. And the song kind of is what the song is, but don't be knocking off solos, just let it fly. And I think that we did a good job at that.
Yeah. One thing that I love the CD. First of all, I love your work, and I love Mud's work in that. And the CD was so genuine. You know what I mean? You could tell that it had that, we're in the studio together kind of playing this thing live kind of vibe. And it didn't come across like anybody was trying to, imitate anybody. You could tell that it was just, it was really genuine,
Yeah. Like I say, we're all big boys here. We've all been doing this music for a long, long, long time. We've all played with all the old guys, and after a while, even though you have heroes, of course, you always will. But, Muddy Waters and B.B. King, they still have their heroes too.
Yeah.
Muddy Waters did. But, there comes a time and, Muddy Waters doesn't want you knocking off his records exactly. At the same time, you got to stay true to the song. So I think it's a fine line that you walk, but I really think we did a pretty good job at it. I think that, of course, Mud, he sounds a lot like his dad, but even Mud did a lot of improvising himself. And he's not knocking off exact things. If you realize that you might be able to play the notes, but you're not going to get no one can knock anybody off. I'll put it that way. Okay, it's impossible to do. And and by the way, the last time I looked, there were no Little Walter impersonators in Vegas.
Right. That's funny.
So there's really no money to be made knocking off Little Walter either. But like I say, you just need to be your own, have your own voice. Period. Oop.
Yeah. So the CD. I mean, is this something that I'm gonna take a stab at this. This is probably something when the idea of you and Mud getting together and doing this project, was it something that you were like, yeah, finally I get to do something, that pays tribute to him in this way, and were you really excited about the project, or?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was excited about working with my guys. I was excited about, being in the studio playing some real blues. And because that's where I live. I dabble at pop music, and I've had some success at it. But I couldn't play pop music the way I play it, or contemporary music, whatever the heck you want to call it, without having steeped myself in real music, which is blues. I mean, I've heard, what you have to do is you kind of got to set the record straight as far as what this music really is. It's not a bunch of rock. It's not a bunch of, what a lot of people think it is. It's, just because you can't play traditional music in your own way, don't change it to fit your expertise, okay? What you have to do is learn it. Don't go, well, the old guys wrote the book. I can't do that. I'll have to play for 30 years to do that, but I want to be on a tour bus in 2 years. And so you really, I think, yes, of course, the old guys did write the book, no question. However, there's no reason why you can't have your own little chapter in there yourself. And, I think people come in with kind of a defeatist attitude when it comes to playing this kind of music, and really, like I say, having your own thing that you do with it. And it was a way, in a way, of setting the record straight of what this music really is. And David Earle facilitated that. He wanted to give the people something that he thought they wanted. At the same time, we did some real music. And we showed people how to improvise in the studio. There's no overdubbing on this record. There's none of that stuff. It is what it is. And that's difficult in its own way, to find people who can actually play a whole song in the studio live without stopping, So I think that we killed a lot of birds with this, Plus, we paid tribute to a guy that I was very close to, and who gave me a lot of breaks in this business, and who was a great, 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 generous man. Yeah. And that really was, that was kind of the icing on the cake.
Well, speaking of icing on the cake, it's birthday time. No, I'm just kidding. Here he is, Kim Wilson and Mud Morganfield, doing Muddy Waters, 19 years old.
I want to say something to you, and I don't care how you feel. Just don't realize it. You've got yourself a good deal. She's 19 years old and got waist like a baby child. Nothing I can do to please her, to make this woman be satisfied. I'm gonna say this to you, and I don't care if you get mad. You're about the prettiest girl I ever had. She's 19 years old and got waist like a baby child. Nothing I can do to please this woman, Billy, to make this young woman feel satisfied. What kind of woman is that? Where she's going, she tell me where she's been. She started a conversation that don't have no end. She's 19 years old, got waist just like a baby child. Nothing I can do to please this woman, and to make this young woman feel satisfied.
Now, as far as being able to give back a little bit, even though Muddy Waters doesn't need to be given back to, because he's so famous. But it's always great to honor the people who had an impact on your life. And, once these guys die, it doesn't matter how well you know them. They go back to that godlike status that they had before you even met them. A guy like Muddy Waters, a guy like Jimmy Rogers, a guy like Snooky Pryor, a guy like Eddie Taylor, a guy like Jimmy Reed. I mean, I played with all of them, every single one of them. And they were all the salt of the earth, every last one of them. I never met a bad guy playing blues, ever. And there's something to be said for that as well.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I've actually witnessed and been a part of myself, over the last 20 years. And you don't find it in most genres of music, especially when you get into, the rock and the pop culture and things of that nature. And that it seems like the people that are in blues, genuinely love the music so much and love the atmosphere and the history and that so much that when new people come around or people that are, trying to be musicians in that field and, get a break or whatever, it seems like everybody's always willing to kind of take somebody at some point under their wing and give them that shot, and let them step on that stage or whatever it is.
Right. At least give them some experience.
Yeah.
The problem is that the people have mixed all this other stuff in with it now, and all that other stuff you're talking about in the rock genres, that comes in with it too. So I mean, it used to be that of course guys like me were very, very rare. Guys like people on this record were very, very rare. The white people, there weren't that many of them. Now there's nothing but white people, and white people got their own set of problems. White people got their own set of inadequacies. White people got their own set of, white people do not want to be journeyman musicians and playing blues. They just don't want to do it anymore. So, I mean, that's the problem that you have now. When you used to have a guy like me who would come around, and I wasn't very good when I started, but I just respected the people so much that I had the opportunity to play with. And they knew that I loved them. They knew that I loved the music. And that's really all that mattered to them. They thought I was great. I wasn't. But it made me want to be great, that they thought I was great. See what I'm talking about?
Right.
And that's something that you just don't get it anywhere else. You don't even get it as much in blues anymore, because blues most of the time is just not blues.
Yeah. So, here it is, so many years later, from, let's even go back from when you were young and you were starting out and Muddy Waters was, you were just being introduced to him and coming to know him and stuff like that. And now you're, however many years down the road, and now you're doing this dedication album to him. When you look back on the time when you first met him or were first around him in that, what is a moment, if you can, that in that relationship you had with him that just really stands out to you that you'll never forget? This is like the one thing that happened between us, or...
Well, there were many things. I mean, there were a lot of personal things that I don't even talk about. But there was one thing I can talk about, which really blew my mind, and it was very soon after I met him. And he was up on stage. I had opened up for him, and he was up on stage playing a little Walter song. Everything is going to be all right. And he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, that song by the late great Little Walter. There's a young man in the house that reminds me more of Little Walter than anybody I ever heard. Stand up, Kim."
Wow.
And that, whether I deserved it or not, was another thing. But the fact that he said that, those moments, they keep you in show business.
Yeah.
That was a time when I didn't even care about an audience. I didn't even care who liked it. All I cared about is that people like Muddy Waters liked it. Period. I didn't care. I didn't care if I was popular. I didn't care about anything else except that Muddy Waters liked what I did, and Jimmy Rogers and all the guys that I played with. But Muddy Waters, of course, because Muddy Waters had all the great harmonica players in his band.
Yeah.
And for him to say that was an incredible moment in my life.
Yeah. Well, you've had, many of those moments, over your career. I mean, you've had a long and prestigious career in music in that. What's on the Kim Wilson professional bucket list? I mean, if you had a couple of things that you could go on and do from this point, what would it be outside of, what you're already doing? Something, different maybe.
I don't have any particular aims except make great records and becoming one of those guys that I idolized and looked upon as that. It's all about a legacy, okay? That's all about, and my legacy really didn't start until the Antones label happened for me.
Yeah.
And then that's when my legacy really started. And that was in the late 80s. I'd already been in the business for quite a while before that. And I'd had hit records. But there's no hit record that can take the place of legitimizing yourself, in my mind, in this type of music. And what that means to me is that you have to play, you have to play traditional music, yes. You have to have your own voice in traditional music. And this music's been modernized successfully only a couple of times. And once, really, that I can think of. And that's when people like Albert King and James Cotton and Little Milton and who else? That's when they took it to that R&B beat. And they were successful with it. Now it's gone haywire. But at the time, they were very successful, and it was and they legitimized it. And I think that, but that's the only time that I can think of where mixing it with any other kind of music or modernizing it in any way actually worked. Everything since then has just been, it's just been wrong. So you got to watch it. Like I say, it's a fine line that you walk.
Yeah.
All you got to do is just be yourself, get to the point where you're comfortable in your own skin, and get out there and just let it fly. And that's what you do. I think that this music has been done a disservice for many, many, many years now. And I don't see that stopping, because it's just not going to stop, Yeah. You get people who, it's just rocked out, ridiculous, non-musical shit, or it's guys attempting to knock off the original records.
Well, one thing we could say about Kim Wilson, he's very passionate about blues. And speaking of blues, here we go again. This is I Want to Be Loved by Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson off of Four Pops, a tribute to Muddy Waters.
Like an angel above. The touch of your hand, woman, drives me insane. Baby, I want to be loved. I'm crazy about every little thing you do. I cherish the way that you hug. Your kiss is so sweet, honey, they can't be beat. But baby, I want to be loved. Come at all, boy, you awful late. I asked you to dance a Ludo spin. You said, wait a minute, daddy, here come my friend. I love the way you walk when you pass me by, even when you try to snub. It kills me, honey, when you give me that eye. But baby, I want to be loved. You don't come at all, or you awful late. I asked you to dance a little spin. You said, wait a minute, Daddy's here. Come, my friend. I love the way you walk when you pass me by, even when you try to snub. It kills me, honey, when you give me the eye. But baby, I want to be loved.
All right, welcome back to the Jimmy Warren Show. Hey, we're so glad that you're here with us tonight. Hey, my guest next Tuesday is rock legend, music legend, Randy Bachman. That's right, Randy Bachman from the Guess Who and Bachman Turner Overdrive is going to be right here on the Jimmy Warren Show. We're going to be talking about his new project, Every Song Tells a Story, the Vinyl Tap Tour, which is a two-part release. It's a DVD and a CD. But also, too, he talks about a project that he's in the works on that's got some really, really big-name people like Peter Frampton and Joe Bonamassa and guys like that that are a part of that project. So some really cool and interesting things that are happening with Randy right now. So you want to tune in next Tuesday night. Also, October is Hard Rock and Heavy Metal Month on the Jimmy Warren Show. It's our first time, going into those waters. Even though we've had some guys from those fields on, we're going to focus the whole month is nothing but hard rock and heavy metal. We're going to kick that off on October 7th, the first Tuesday of the month, with Eddie Trunk. Now, you might know him from his syndicated radio programs, or you might know him from TV. He's the host of that metal show on VH1. Eddie's going to be joining me to kick off our month of hard rock and heavy metal. Now, through the course of the month, we got some really cool things happening. We got Tom Kiefer from Cinderella is going to be on the program. Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest is going to be here. Paul Gilbert, who's on Shrapnel Records and part of Mr. Big as well, is going to be on the program. And then Steve Blaze from Lillian Axe. So we got some really cool things happening through October right here on the Jimmy Warren Show. So we want to thank you for tuning in. You can find out all the information about the show, the schedule, what's going on, and even listen to archive programs at www.jimmywarrenshow.com. Now let's get back to my interview with Kim Wilson.
And there's, so basically they both lose, because no one wants to hear someone knock off a Muddy Waters record. No one. No, everybody wants to hear the original stuff. So, and that's, and we all want to hear that anyway. But if you're going to do something like, play Muddy Waters songs or play Jimmy Reed songs, and especially me, who is the lead instrument, you just have to show people what you got.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's not like it's, I'm very, very serious about my music, no question. But the better you get, the more fun it is. When you can go in there. Rob Stooke paid me a great compliment on this record when we were doing it. He said, "You didn't play any bad notes. You didn't play any. Everything you played was perfect." And I went, "Well, it is where I live, Rob. But he didn't realize that when you're making mistakes on the fly, every mistake counts. Every mistake is real. Every mistake is something that you haven't done before. And that's the whole thing about improvising in music, is that the mistakes all go with it. But it's all about making the mistakes translate into something that makes sense. And you can't be afraid to make. Oh, what are they going to do? Fire you? Right. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. It's not like you're a beginner and they're sending you down the expert slope on a. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're going to die. No, that ain't it. So I mean, all that stuff. It just makes it fun. The better you get, the more fun it is. Period. And I've had a lot of fun in the last few years playing this kind of music. I've had a lot of fun doing what I do on other people's records. I had a great time on that Mark Knopfler CD. Yeah. That was fantastic. And that was a great session. And that wasn't straight blues, but I can go in and make records with people that aren't playing straight blues. Some of it was more bluesy than others, obviously, but they don't ask me to do anything differently than what I already do. I know how to, because I know how to harmonize with other musicians, and I know how to listen to other musicians and appreciate it. I mean, if you put me in a situation like Mark Knopfler did, and like Eric Clapton did, and like Bonnie Raitt did, and like Paul Simon did, all these people, they put me in situations where I had a lot of respect for all the people that I was in there with. I mean, it didn't matter if they were blues guys or not; they were still great musicians. And I think this is the way you have to think about it these days. You can't be thinking about, well, that ain't blues, or that ain't. You have to think about it as, boy, this is great being in here with all these great people. And they called me. Wow, that's incredible. And you have to just count your blessings, and count your blessings that you're in there with so many great people who dig what you do. And of course you're going to dig what they do. People like Willie Weeks, Mark, Steve Jordan, Danny Korchmar, who's the drummer? The big, oh God, I can't believe I'm not thinking of this. He was on the Clapton thing. It was great. He was great. And
Steve Gadd?
No, he's alive. Oh God, I can't believe I'm not remembering his name. He's like the most famous guy out there on drums. I'll think of it after I get off the phone with you, I'm sure. But so many great people, and everybody's so nice and so complimentary. That's the new brotherhood. Yeah, people with that kind of expertise, who are comfortable in their own skins, playing any kind of music. Even rock. I mean, look at guys like Eric Johnson, for instance. I mean, there's a really great musician who's a rock player. Yeah. And then that's not easy to do with me. I mean, the rock was something that was invented by Jimi Hendrix, and he died with it. Okay, everybody since then has been trying to knock him off. Now, Eric Clapton, I think, did a great job of being himself, playing rock music for his whole life, And you know why he was so great? Because he was a blues guy, Yeah. That's why. And so was Jimi Hendrix. So all these other guys, they're just trying to knock off all the rock stuff. They're not rooted, And then you got people like Keith Richard, who is just his own musical animal, I wouldn't really call that rock. I would just call that just really good, hooky. I mean, everything you can think of that's good, and extremely original. So I mean, you got there are some people out there, but not, you know. The problem today is that they're trying to mix it so much with rock because in the beginning, of course, the major labels had some success with, you know, people mixing rock and blues, and it just doesn't work. It's one or the other. You can have a pretty bluesy rock and roll song. Now, I'm not talking about rock and roll here. I'm talking about rock. Okay.
Yeah.
But you could have, and rock and roll was another offshoot of blues originally. I mean, look at Chuck Berry, for instance, and look at people like Lonnie Brooks, who was Guitar Junior and did all those great tracks. You know, there's been a lot of great people mixing blues in with rock and roll, but it was still rock and roll.
Yeah.
And like I said, the only time it really got modernized and it was still blues was during that Stax era, and that's what inspired it. Albert King on Stax, basically, is what it was. And I don't know whose idea that was to bring him in, but that was a big thing for modernizing blues music.
All right, here it is, Trouble No More by Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson off of Four Pops.
Don't care how long you're gone, don't care how long you stay, 'cause good kind treatment will bring you home one day. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. You just keep on betting that the dice won't pass. You know, little darling, you are living too fast. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. I'm gonna tell everybody in your neighborhood you a sweet little woman, but you don't mean me no good. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. Your car's gone. Without good loving, you can't stay too long. But someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore. Well, goodbye, baby. Come on and shake my hand. I don't want no woman. You can have a man, but someday, baby, you ain't gonna trouble for me anymore.
and he's taken every music that he's done. He's gone in a lot of different musical directions, and he's really legitimized all of them. He's been able to, you know, get people like me to go, okay,
Yeah.
you know, this is real music. This is happening, you know, and because I'm the toughest audience.
Yeah.
I'm the very toughest audience. I can hear guys when they're trying too fucking hard, you know. I can hear guys when they don't, you know, when they don't belong in there, you know. Everybody else is raving about it, and I'm going like, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
This ain't happening." This is you can learn a lot off records, but when you actually see a motherfucker playing that shit right, it changes your life.
Yeah.
And so now, I guess here I am. I'm supposed to be the guy playing it right. But I got off my soapbox a long time ago, even though it sounds like I'm still on it right now. I got off my soapbox a long time ago, and I'm just out there to have a good time. But every time I pick up my instrument, especially playing the traditional stuff, I'm thinking about the old guys.
Yeah.
Every single time. How am I stacking up to that? Mm-hmm. It's a big thing, and it's why people, they get away from it, because it's a very, very tall order that takes your whole life to do. And if you can't do that, then, you know, play rock.
Yeah.
Do that. Don't play rock and call it what I do. Don't do that.
Right.
It's wrong. That's wrong. But, you know, the more that it's promoted in that way, the more people are going to do it. The more people that think they're going to be able to get on a tour bus after 3 years of playing. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there in control are not musical people.
Yeah.
And they just decided that, you know, like what I want to say is, who died and made you fucking president? No. They were just the ones who went in there and decided to grab it. And unfortunately, they were the wrong people. So, you know, it's just one of those things, man. I have a hard time talking about this without mentioning names, but I'm not going to do it. And you know.
Well, you know what? Regardless of whether people agree or disagree with how you feel about this music or the combination of music or where it's at today, the one thing that's true from what I've just witnessed, you know, being a part of here, listening to you talk, is that you're extremely passionate about the blues. You're extremely passionate about it, keeping this music pure and authentic and paying respect and homage to the people that were before.
Well, the people that do disagree with me are wrong. The people that disagree with what I just said are wrong. You know, and I am very, very passionate, you know, about this music. Hell, it's taken my whole life to get good at it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people can say what they want about the old days. I wasn't shit back then. I really turned myself into something, and it's a kind of thing that's great to have when you get to be my age. It's like a rebirth, being able to get up and play, go on recordings without like wincing when you hear them back. You know, it's a very, very high standard, that, you know, most people just don't have, because, like I said, they don't want to take the time, they don't want to do the work, and it's that simple. You know, and they come in defeated. Oh, we can't do that, but we can do this.
Yeah.
And you know, that's really how it all started. I mean, oh, we can't do that. Oh, but oh, wow, we can do this, and if we make enough squeaks, like the squeaky wheel, that gets the grease, we might be able to convince people that this is blues. And, that's just the way that is.
Yeah. Well, the name of the CD is For Pops, and it's Mud Morganfield and Kim Wilson. It's a tribute to Muddy Waters. Do you guys foresee yourselves maybe down the road coming back
doing
together?
some show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What about maybe another project down the road if this one does well?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm open for all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the CD is it's great. I'm going to be honest with you, it's great, and it's so reminiscent of the authenticity of who Muddy Waters was, and you're surrounded by great musicians. Oh my God, like you said, Barrelhouse Chuck and Rusty Zen and Billy Flynn and Gomez and Rob.
Yeah. It's a great lineup. I mean, it's some of the few guys who can actually really do that.
Yeah.
There's not very many of them out there anymore. So I mean, luckily, I get to play with these guys. If I didn't have people like this to play with, man, I don't even know what I would do. I might not even be
driving a truck somewhere, huh?
I don't know. I mean, maybe on welfare. I don't know what the hell I would be doing, to be honest with you. If I didn't have these guys who, say yes when I ask them to play, and that's a big deal for me to have that kind of quality. And you can't make records like this without that. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And, I love them all.
I don't want you to be no slave. I don't want you to work all day. I don't want you to be true. I just want to make love to you. I don't want you to wash my clothes. I don't want you to keep a hold. I don't want your money too. I just want to make love to you. 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 Love to you. Can tell by the way you switch and walk, and I can see by the way you baby talk, and I can know by the way you treat your name that I could love you, baby, until the crying shame. I don't want you to cook my bread. I don't want you to make my bed. I don't don't want you because I'm sad and blue. I just want to make love to you. Make love to you. Make love to you. Make love to you. Love to you. Love to you.
All right, this is Jimmy Warren, and thank you for tuning in to the Jimmy Warren Show tonight. I want to thank my guest, Kim Wilson, the voice of the Fabulous Thunderbirds. You know, we just did this project. We've been talking about it all night. Well, we've been talking about other things too. This new project that he did with Mud Morganfield. It's called Four Pops, a tribute to Muddy Waters. It's on Severn Records. You can go out and get it. It's available everywhere and anywhere music is sold. And that, to find out what's coming on the Jimmy Warren Show, go to jimmywarrenshow.com. And just so you know, next Tuesday night, I have Randy Bachman, rock and music legend from the Guess Who and Bachman Turner Overdrive. Randy will be joining me right here on the Jimmy Warren Show. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get out of here with one last track. And you know, we played the entire CD over the last 2 weeks. The last track of Four Pops. This is called She Moves Me. Good night, everybody. See you next week.
She moved me, man. Honey, and I don't see how it's done. She moved me, man. Honey, and I don't see how it's done. She got a pocket full of money. The little girl don't try to help me none. Move me when she gets struck. Then she say I'm not nowhere. She call me a dumbbell. Say I'm nothing but a square. She move me, man. Honey, and I don't see how it's done. Got a pocket full of money. The little girl don't try to help me none. Crazy man. He said, now I'm not so dumb. I take a tough young boy. The dead jumped up and run. She looked at a deaf and dumb boy. He said, now I can speak. She shook her finger in a blind man's face. Once I blind, but now I see. She moved me, man. Honey, and I don't see how it's done. She's got a pocket full of money. The little girl don't try to help me none.